Sinibingelela babukele emakhaya, and thank you once again for tuning in. This is Mind Over Matter, a safe space mbukeli where we get to talk about real life issues. Kanti lokubingelela kona namhla ehlelweni ngombali wakaSimelane uMnguni Mpembe Ndebze Mchawana ngihambe ngiyedfake mbukele njengenhlala yena. I have a guest who is an expert. Ngikhuluma ngaye Imana who is a psychological counselor. Just saying that word, I feel like I need that name because it feels so expensive. Welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you today.
Thank you so much for having me. I am really excited and glad to be here to unpack mental health.
Talking about mental health, Imana, we are talking about finance and mental health. Imali and mental health, how does those two link?
Money has become a part of our lives. I mean, we may wake up every day to go to work. We are pondering, whatever it may be, we are hustling. We need that money. Yeah. So money affects our sense of security. It affects our sense of identity and stability as well. So the moment where we feel as if we are lacking our money or if we're on zero in our finances, it becomes a problem for us. It affects our mental health. And it causes our stress levels to increase, which increases our anxiety, irritability, the frustrations that we go through on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, talking about stress, how does financial stress manifest when you're talking about emotions and also behavioral?
So it affects our minds in the sense that we become frustrated. You know, we're emotional beings, and the frustration eventually pours out into the way we will behave. For example, when you're at work, you might find yourself shouting at your colleagues or the people around your workspace. And these days, customer service is so important, you know. In the family setup, you can find yourself shouting at your children, at your wife, at your husband. It just depends on who you are living with. So it becomes a big problem because even in your habits, it pours out into your habits in, for example, gambling. I know there's e-bet these days, there's 8-bet these days, and people who are going through financial strain can find themselves using that to just put into the gambling, and it becomes a problem in the long run if your financial situation is not handled properly.
Before we even get to the question, because you're talking about families, I just want us to talk about couples. But before we get to that, the office in line of work, I say, Imana, I think I have a problem because I think it's so hard for us to say we have problems when it comes to dimali, like you were saying, so that it doesn't look like. So do you ever have people that walk in and say, I think I have a problem with money? When you guys have a sit down?
I have actually had a number of people walk in due to financial problems. It is a crisis in our nation. It's a huge crisis for police. It's a huge crisis for teachers. And at some point, due to Fakata, it was a huge problem. Yeah. I had quite a number of people coming in. And most of the causes of stress and where I am based, I see a lot of people with health conditions, you know, your strokes, your incidences that are related to strokes. So they mentioned that their stress level was increased due to finances. Maybe bampana ekaya, they've been demanding money. They've been, you know, gogo maybe I feel then kids come in and take that money. And then when it was the Fakata era, we had a lot of people, Bokoko, the sad part it was Bokoko coming through saying, oh, they've stolen my 15,000. It's quite a hectic thing because it now affects Gogo's whole living. And everything, and yeah, that's how it's been. It's a challenge for us.
So they are not afraid of speaking out to have difficulties when it comes to finance. Just personally,
yes, it has not been a challenge for anyone that I have seen. The only thing that has been challenging is how do we get out of that?
Oh, yeah, true.
Because it's a practical thing. When you speak about finances, it's practical. You have to practice certain habits in order to have your finances in order.
Yeah. Talking about having things in order, probably there's a couple watching or a family member watching and they have conflicts because of finances and cause stress. Understand what can you say, Nomage? What advice do you usually give those people that walk in with problems like that?
Have clear and open conversations on the topic of money. In this day and age, that is very rare, but you have to talk about finances, whether you are a married couple or not. The fact that you are taking this huge step of being in that partnership, it means that you have to share. And finances is a huge part of our lives.
Yeah,
so you
true.
have to let your partner know whether you're in a poor financial state or a good financial state, the debt that you are in. So open conversations really help so that there are less misunderstandings, and also being open-minded and being free to talk about your needs, your expectations, and your wants. It really helps a lot.
Yeah. But how do you get people to open up? Like, because I know it's difficult for even asking me like a simple question about my money. It's a difficult one. How do you get people to be able to open up when it comes to that part?
Most of the time, it's all about building a good rapport. Most patients will not open up at the first session, because they're just trying to feel your vibe. Let me put it that way. Whether you are going to allow them to have a free space to speak about the struggles that they're going through, especially finances.
Yeah. You mentioned the Fakata era, you mentioned gambling. Ngiyakubuka kwakho, are we ever going to get to a point where we really understand ukuthi my finances mele abe kanjani, especially in a community, in a family, as a couple? Also nje usasewedvana, do you think you're ever going to get to that point?
I believe there is a chance. We need to educate more than anything. Educate the community, like we're here today, to speak about the finances and mental health. So we need programs where we educate people on financial literacy. People actually need to attend conferences that are posted online on finance, on business, for example. And another thing is we should not be locked in to the 9-to-5 job. We should understand, we should understand that there's more to just a 9-to-5. There's more out there that we can do. Whether it's a small business that grows eventually, but hustle, hustle, have multiple streams of income. This reduces your stress. It means that you'll have more money and money anytime. Whereas compared to your 9-to-5, you work throughout the month and, I'm going to get paid month end. When it comes to hustling, you have money, every day.
Come on.
Yeah.
I want us to talk about the steps, but because we're going to for an ad break, I don't want to cut you. So for now, what has been the worst case? This case is difficult. I don't know how to tackle this one, but I'm going to do and try and help.
Okay. So I have had someone come in with, of course, a health condition, which was a stroke caused by the financial state. Financial state, which was very poor. So this individual had actually been in debt for quite the longest time, and they couldn't get to a point of realization that I need to get rid of my debt with what I have and what I am earning, and try to get rid of all debt and start afresh. So what they kept on doing was every time money would come in, they wouldn't pay for the debt. They would just pay that bit of amount and then continue with life. So it kept on piling up, piling up, piling up. So it just got to a point where you just have to be real. You get to be real with a client and let them know what it actually is and have them weigh the options that you have spoken about. And people listen, people don't. So it's up to the client to actually take that step. And honestly, they took the step and they were freed, financial freedom.
Yeah, man, which is good. Let's go for an air break. We'll talk more about the steps after the break. Mbugeli, you're still watching Mind Over Matter. Please don't go anywhere. We're talking about a very serious topic. A lot is still coming just after this. Welcome back, Mbugeli. You're still watching Mind Over Matter. Namhla sikhulumisa indaba yema finance, Mbugeli finance and mental health. I am with an expert today, Losita ngale namuhla. Imana, before we went for an ad break, we're going to talk about the steps to take, practical steps just to help Mbugeli Makhaya as they're watching. What can we do in terms of finance and mental health?
Okay, there's quite a number of practical steps. The most important one is budgeting. Know how much you earn.
It's funny how that name is so famous, but people don't even use it, but it's okay.
Yes, so you know how much you earn on a monthly,
Yeah.
on a day-to-day, probably on a weekly. So budget according to your expenses and the things you need. Start with what you need, and then your wants will come later. There's also percentages of budgeting. You can check them up online, of course. And also be grateful for what you earn, for what you have. Live within your means. That's something that a lot of us find difficult to do. You see this high life, and we all want the high life. We were all born for the high life, I mean. But then live within your means. There's no reason to live in a rental that's worth 2.5 if you earn 1.5 a month. Just make sure that everything is within the money that you are earning. That really helps a lot. And also like having conversations probably with a financial advisor can also help one to get to a point of being financially free as well. And also one thing that really becomes a problem for us is increments, percentages, bonuses at work. It opens up to spending more. Yet I believe you should spend what is within your means and what you earn on a day-to-day, and use that bonus for, spoil yourself. It's good to spoil yourself. You've earned that money, but then use that money to open up a door for an extra income. It can really help you in the long run. Then you can be spoiling yourself every day.
Yeah, true. But to get people, when you tell them something like that, Njobusha Uzi, and a hola 2.5 you can't stay, hola 1.5 you can't stay, and a 2.5 when you get certain amount of money you can't do this. Do people actually understand when you tell them that? No, and then they come back to you and say, yeah, you did mention this.
Most of the time, people want to drown first, which is very confusing. But then you get to the understanding that there's a lot of, what can I say? There's a lot of competition, especially when it comes to ladies.
Yeah.
We want this high and fast life, and we tend to live outside of our means and way above our means. So it becomes difficult. And that's okay. Crash if you have to crash. But then that's why we're here. We're going to help you rebuild.
Yeah, I think another thing when probably you don't have money for a long time, no, I'm you're from school and you're going to start to spend and you're on some, when I have money, I want to do 1, 2, 3, and then the money comes, you don't even think about the word lamakamabo budget and all of that. You're like, this is what I want. This is what I've been dreaming about. Ganzi, that's how you're going to crash and now come back to Imana. But it's a good thing because they do come to you for help, right, at the end of the day.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, man. So when do people have to come and seek for help? When do I come? When do I tell a friend, you're going through a lot, you're crashing now. Let's go and see Imana.
Okay, when you're having a lot of frustration, and it's a constant frustration, constant irritability, sleepless nights, everything has now become about money, money, money. When somebody even brings up the topic of money, you throw a pity party for yourself. Oh, I don't have money, I don't have this, and I don't have that. Whereas if only you could use the money properly and have an orderly manner of using it, then you would actually be financially free.
Yeah. But Imana, don't you think there's a conversations because as I was saying, with the mentality this is what I want to do before they even crash, because trust me, we can avoid a lot of things, don't you think?
That's very true. We could avoid a lot of things. Education is power. Knowledge is very powerful. It's key to understanding what finances really are. So when it comes to schools, if nabo grade 1, bayafunza about money, because we give the money in the morning. Nang 5 rand utawuthenga maswiti or something. That's where it starts. I can even relate it to myself. I never got money in primary up until I got to high school. That was like bus fare, and then money's on Friday. So that's how I learned to actually budget, until it got to a later on stage. So even families, parents are responsible to teach their children on finances, on budgeting. Money is like spirit. There's a certain power that money has, and you realize this in the fact that when you have money, there's this high that you get. There's this excitement that you get. And when you don't have money, like, there's no excitement, there's no high.
Yeah.
So money is powerful, and we don't get it until we get to the point where I'm in a financial crisis.
Yeah.
And maybe today I will have the money, then tomorrow it's gone. So the emotional change, that's what shows that money is spirit, just like love.
Yeah. When someone is watching at home and probably thinking, hi, abakhulum probably abakhuluma other people that have got real money, abasho me, because I just have 500 rand probably I have 1,000 rand every month. That's the money that I get. They're not talking to me. When do you start taking this part serious in my finances? Does it matter ukuthi uthola mali noma does it matter ukuthi umuntu wethu imali etingakanani?
I believe that imali ayikhethi, you know, whether you feel like you're poor or you feel like you're rich. The fact that money is there and the fact that money is available, there are chances that you would spend it on useless things, or there are chances that you'd spend it on very important things. So whether you earn 1,000 or you earn 10,000
or a million,
exactly, it's the same money. It's the same thing.
Yeah, man, let's go for an ad break. We'll talk more after this, right? Okay. You're still here. Mbugeli, Imana is still here. Our experts, we're still talking about money. I know it's important. Now, Lepeka, I hope you're taking notes, because at the end of the day, umele sitane babugeli bayo imana over meta. Don't go anywhere. A lot is coming just after this. Welcome back, Mbugeli. You're still watching Mind Over Matter. I'm having it Imana, who's our expert today, Skomisa Inzaba finance and mental health. Before we went an ad break, I think we did speak about the importance of taking the education to school, which is very important. What you said was because that's where it starts bamba imali. But I also believe there's a message that you said you have that you want to share with the visit home, especially facing different seasons. The season where imali you touched Inzaba bonus as well, because when I tell them bonus, it gets crazy because you get to get things that you don't even afford at times. So before we even get to other things, can you briefly tell them the message that you said you wanted to share with them?
Okay, finances is as important as your mental health.
Yeah.
So taking care of your finances means you're also taking care of your mental health. And it's very important to understand the emotions that come with your financial struggles or your financial gains. So keep in mind to always make sure that your mindset is in the right space when it comes to finances, so that it doesn't negatively impact your mental health.
Yeah. But I think, again, I'm going to ask this question because I think you're running away with the answer that I want. I don't know, because
okay.
I mean, it's very difficult to disclose your finances to people. To get to a point where a person comes down and sit down with you, but you haven't know taxi in pets. Inginga yakhe lo muntu enza bat imali. Iqala emalini iqala yase ke ifika ku stress, yase ifika enhloko, yase iba stroke. Do you ever get people like that? Who it's difficult for them to accept ukuthi you do get that admit I would have a problem, but I believe there are certain people that are coming like, it's just stroke, it's nothing else. But when you sit down, probably after a day or two, you get to understand it was never even about the headache. It was never about anything else. It was just about my finances, like our balance.
Yes. Trust me, the people that I see and the clients that would come, because they would have been the ones who would reach out for the help.
Yeah.
They are ready. They already in a state to actually share what's happening, what's going on. They are already helpless. They're already hopeless. They need the assistance. So I haven't faced a challenge.
I'm going to come then.
You should.
To the client who doesn't want to admit to anything.
You definitely should. And some other people just need a bit of time to defrost.
Okay.
But eventually, therapy, counseling, it's a safe space.
Yeah, it is.
It's really a safe space. So I haven't had that challenge before. Yeah.
Probably right now, but as I am crashing right now, am I ever going to get help? And humanity help, I mean where I am completely free, where I am completely free and I can do whatever I want within my means, like you mentioned.
It is very possible. All you need to do is actually take the steps to seeking help. See a financial advisor if you need to. See a psychologist if you need the psychotherapy or counseling. Sometimes the financial issue is a hidden it's a hidden thought.
Yeah,
we
true.
never think that it could be the finances or the financial strain that I am facing. But the moment you go and speak to somebody, a professional, a psychologist, a counselor, everything unravels, everything pops up that, oh, it could be this. It could be the finances. It could be my overspending, because at times we spend like recklessly because we're ignorant. It's not a matter of, I know actually, just see something and I've got the money, let me get that. Then somewhere down the line, an emergency pops up. Do you have your savings in order? Do you have an emergency fund in order? Unfortunately not. So that's when it just all crumbles down. So most of the time, it's a moment in time. It's just a moment in our lives, you know. Maybe you've been relieved from work and they have put you down maybe for a couple of months. Those couple of months, because you're not used to that, will become challenging. Then you go to Shylock's and you're borrowing. It starts with a 500 ml, then it leads to 1,000 ml. And finally, when you get paid, you paid off. But because that habit of borrowing is already there, you've tasted how nice it is to borrow and go out and buy whatever I want, then it becomes a cycle and a habit. But it takes you to seek the help. Yeah, nobody can help you. When it comes to finances, I mentioned it's practical. So you need to go out there and seek the help.
It's a good one. I like the fact that you are mentioning all of that, especially when it comes to that people do come and knock in and come through and say, this is the issue that I have with my finances. And a good thing is, I think what you're saying is that Eswatini are open when it comes to the discussion of finances. But I am all about healing and having a solution at the end of the day. So I'm still going to go back to that. Do you think the generation coming will be able to understand the importance of budgeting and the importance of living within your means? Because of the social thing that we have these days, especially the social platforms are doing a lot of things that we want them now to do things that they can't even afford. Not only us as parents, but also them coming through as young ones.
That's true. The unfortunate part, life is moving very fast.
Yeah.
And it all goes back to upbringing and background. You know, the things that you have learned in your background, the things you've learned in your upbringing about finances is what actually then keeps it all together when you're an adult now. So it's 50-50% chance. I can't say that unfortunately not or yes, but I believe that if families can hold it down, and schools can educate, then there is a better future for my 2000s and the upcoming generation.
Yeah, to be on the good run. Because sometimes Babona gets when they want to but today she just bought a car. So we should see this thing is doable. Thank you so much for your time. We really enjoyed, we learned a lot and everything that you're saying today, especially I also took something on the back and it's because finances are very important. Like you said, they are part of our lives and the decisions that we make can affect us tomorrow and forever. So it's very important to be careful of how you spend your money, and also it's important to spend within your means. And now you feel like the boat is crashing, make sure that you knock. Imana is always there to help you out on that one because we want you alive and safe. My name is Mbali Simelane Umgoni Mpembe. There was Mkhan, and we're going to make sure you tune in again next week, same time. From Mbali Simelane and the rest of the teams, it's in Saleh. We love you.